folks, welcome back in the KQEG TV 7 Rivers Racing program each and every week, actually twice a week, as we lead you up to the racing season. Early start coming up for the Crosse Speedway. Al Losi and Dan Dyker will be with you the next half an hour, getting you ready for the upcoming racing season. And a lot is taking place. A lot of movement with the Excalibur Speedway. And, of course, a lot of movement with the Crosse Speedway as they're coming off their driver orientation meeting last Wednesday. Al, very, very well attended. I think there were more folks out this year than there were last year, and I know a lot of the race drivers that were out liked that they moved the meetings to Wednesday nights.
I think so. It gave them an opportunity to do their family activities on the weekend, which is Saturday, which is when they normally host it, and a lot of information came out at the drivers' meeting.
No real big changes to the La Crosse Fairgrounds Speedway this year. Of course, they have renamed the Rays division the Outlaws. And track manager Chuck Deary said basically because when you sell a product, you have to sell what the name is. And it's kind of hard to some folks to really sell the RAYS acronym, right. Race All Your Stuff. So they have picked up with the Outlaws, and they have a new sponsor this year. Bolden Construction will be sponsoring the Outlaws at the La Crosse Fairgrounds Speedway. Talked to John Olson last weekend. Harley Jankowski, a fantastic smoker. Good luck to him this year. He was on the program. And Johnny O is going to be back this year. He's going to try to defend the title. And if you remember last year, he had broke the track record 4 straight times on the quarter mile, leading up to Oktoberfest, and I had the whole crowd was pumped up, ready to go. They knew what I was talking about when he was going for 5, and then Johnny O tanked it, and he had some harsh words for himself at the smoker this past weekend, but he's going to be back to defend his track title.
Yes, and a couple of other things that came out at the drivers' meeting that are very important. April 7th is going to be the tire sale for, I believe, all divisions. It starts at 4:30 and will end around 7, so every team should be out there at the racetrack, at the tire barn, to pick up your tire, the first round of tires for the beginning of the season. Media day practice, there's going to be a little bit of a change. Normally at 11 o'clock they let the rookies out in the late model division. They're not going to do that this year. They're going to allow everybody on the track starting at 11, and it should run until about 3, and that's on March 16th. A decent change that's going to make a difference this year, I think, is they're going to allow the 15-year-olds on the big track and 14-year-olds on the small track, but you're going to have to do some talking with the management in order to get that permission. You still need permission from the management if anybody tries to do that.
And as of yet, I haven't heard of any 15-year-olds. I know there was some rumors that there are some unnamed drivers out there that are talking about getting into a sportsman this year.
Yes.
Kind of like your guest today, didn't race a Thunderstock, didn't race a sportsman, jump right into a late model. So I know there is some names being kicked around out there as to the age limit and who could run into a sportsman. I would primarily think you might see 1 or 2 rookies out there, and then when you look at the Thunderstock class, I kind of like that they've lowered the age. Of course, you got to call Chuck Deary at the Speedway to get permission if you're 14. But I like how they've kind of bent that backwards now, along with the NASCAR rule, and can let the younger generation get behind the wheel.
And they're going to look for some things. So you can't just walk in there and say, "I got a car and I'm going to go running." They want to see some responsibility, some respect. They want to make sure that you're going to be a viable person out there. They don't want just anybody out there. But if you're serious about racing, go talk to the management at the La Crosse Fairgrounds Speedway. Another thing that I really like is they're going to continue the 2 wide restarts with the late models.
Fantastic.
And another big issue, the lighting out there. The track management is doing an incredible job of replacing the lighting out there. We will talk to our guest here in a little bit about what a big difference turns 3 and 4 made when they changed the lighting last year.
Well, 1 and 2 last year.
Well, they're bringing it around.
Oktoberfest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, last year Oktoberfest is when 1 and 2 was done.
Right.
And as an announcer
1 and 2, yes,
at the track, there are 2 dead spots on the track, which were hard to see if there was an accident or something going on. One was about 3/4 away between turns 1 and 2, which has been done. Oktoberfest looked great. Now, when they get it around the corner, there's a spot up by one of the gates between turns 3 and 4, primarily deep into turn 4,
right,
as you are about to make your descent down the front straightaway. kind of a dark spot. But I know Chuck has been talking the past 3 seasons now that getting the lighting out there is one of their top priorities. And if you went to Fest last year, you saw a huge difference between turns 1 and 2. It was so bright. Other thing about double-filed restarts, talked to 9 late model drivers during the driver orientation meeting. Every single one of them liked it.
Yeah.
They like the feeling they get coming out of turn 4 on the restart, and they like what I've deemed the game of chess. And our guest is going to maybe talk a little bit more about that today. When I talk about the drivers that approach and the game that's being played on a double file restart, the cone comes out. Well, the leader gets the outside. Everybody running behind him will get almost nose to cone before they make that switch to either the top side or the low side of the track they want to start on. And then you get a guy behind him that thinks, okay, I'm going to follow Jay Herbst down, or I'm going to stay on top to get side by side, but you don't know until you hit that cone where the driver's going, and then you get a guy going, oh, too late, and then he's gonna go to a different lane. So I love the double file restarts, and I think the fans, if you watch the fans as they all turn their attention to turn 4 on a restart, standing up and watching, and then here they come. I think it's a great move.
I like to think that on a double file restart, it's exactly what it is, the start of the race.
Right. Well, that's going to be a big one this year. I know the fans are going to like it. I know some of the drivers are going to like it. Something else that's going to happen this year, which I am looking forward to, is in the North Country Contractor Sportsman's class. Chuck Deary at the meeting did state that this year there will be some kind of a dash. Now, as to how many laps, it's still going to be undetermined.
Right.
For those folks that don't go to La Crosse Fairgrounds Speedway that want to go this year, we have a 6-for-6 dash that we run the late models in. We take the 6 fastest qualifiers. They're in their own race. There's 3 rows, side by side, running start for 6 laps. Very exciting race to watch, very exciting race to call. Sportsmen are going to get their crack at that this year, and I know a lot of drivers. I was talking to Rob Mason Wednesday night, said he can't wait for a dash.
And that makes sense. They're still deciding whether they should run 4, 6, how many cars, but I think that's just a formality.
I think they should run 6. I'd like to see them run 6 just because I get excited when I call the 6-for-6 dash.
Yeah.
That is one of the best races there at the track. Really no major changes to the schedule this year. There's a lot of additions. So you want to go to lacrossespeedway.com and you can either view the schedule on your computer screen or you can download the PDF file and print it up and put it on your chalkboard or wherever you're going to be putting it at. But there are some new races this year. I think the late model Masters race at the end of the year is going to be a highlight of the entire season. When we have Chuck on the program here in a couple of weeks, we'll have him describe how that race is going to go, but I think that's going to be one folks don't want to miss this year. Coming up next, we called him the Stig at the latter portion of last year, and he may be a very, I guess you could say, famous writer out of Minnesota. We're going to find out with Al Losi and fansarena.com coming up next on the KQEG 7 Rivers Racing Show.